When you think of the modern consumer, what image comes into your head? Do you see something like this? Somebody that you have a pretty good idea what their age range is, what their generation is. Somebody who you have a kind of a clear notion of what their income level is and how much they're making and how much they're not making, how much debt they're carrying. And you pretty much know whether they're tech savvy or tech challenged. I'm going to ask you guys to play along with me for a moment. And I'm going to ask that if you were born before 1966, I'm going to ask you to hold up your cell phone really high. Really high. Go ahead. Wave them up. Yay. Thank you. Now, here's the caveat. If you're holding a Motorola flip phone, it doesn't count. Put it down. Okay? And now I'm going to ask you to look around the room. Look around the room to your left, to your right, and behind you. This is your modern consumer. This is today's consumer. You are our modern consumer. Now, this beautiful redhead in the middle of this slide is my mother. And she has no idea how big these screens are that she's on right now. I snapped that photo of her, much to her dismay, when she and I were talking on what I call the black box. You know those Amazon Echo Showbox thingies that you put on the counter, and you can have a conversation back and forth, a video conversation. What you need to know about that is I didn't buy that box. My mother bought that box. She bought one for me. She bought one for my 4 siblings. She bought one for my aunts. She bought one for the cousins. She bought one for everybody because she wanted us to be able to not just talk to each other, but experience each other as we sit and have a conversation. And she bought those online from her iPad, from the comfort of her bed. Now, I find it kind of funny because we see each other every Sunday at family dinner, but my mother still thinks we should see each other when we talk during the week. That's just how she is. A study shows that 51% of consumers aged 51 to 69 spend 15 hours a week online. And yet, only 41% aged 18 to 33 spend that much time online. So guys, my mother's your modern consumer. And I know, if you think about it for a minute, you'll agree with me, that's pretty much our reality, because I know I can't be the only person who sits in a restaurant with my mother who's 72 on one side, my aunt who's 75 on the other side, because I think we're going to have girl time, and while one of them's on Facebook wishing my cousin happy birthday, and the other one's checking on her purchases to see if they're at her front door, I'm the one in the middle saying, girls, can we put the phones down and have a little FaceTime? Anybody relate to that? So here's the deal. The modern consumer is not just an age group. It's not just a generation. It's not just an income group or a zip code. It's not just a demographic. The modern consumer, today's consumer, is comprised of a demographic, yes, but also a psychographic and a behavioral graphic. All 3 things combined. And the challenge is that if you're not considering all 3 of these things when you're segmenting your clientele in order to create the ideal digital experience, to marry with the ideal offline experience, then you're risking losing out on $20 to $40 trillion about to flood the market in the next 10 years.